What is up, video diary? This is entry number 2, and I just got back yesterday from Washington D.C, our nation's wonderful capital. And I went with, the program was a youth program, youth tour, with a big group of us all from Oklahoma, from all across Oklahoma, and it was with Oklahoma Electric Cooperatives. So pretty much the cooperatives that service each county for electricity and energy and even internet. Those cooperatives each had a competition and selected 2 to 5. There was one that came with one guy, but that's because they were weird with the Texas border. But they selected delegates to represent each cooperative to go to D.C. And so I got to go on the Oklahoma Youth Tour. And it was amazing. It was so much fun, and it was a great opportunity. And if I hadn't just told my mom every single detail, her and my dad went and picked me up at the airport, and if I hadn't just last night just told her every single detail from like minute by minute and everything, I would feel the desire to say that now. But I got it off my chest. I talked for 3 hours straight. By the way, I'm not a huge talker, and I'm pretty unsocial in a lot of ways. I love talking to people, and I love all that, but I have a big fear of it, and I have a fear of judgment, and that mostly manifests itself in that I don't like approaching new people and talking to people. And I would say, I forgot part of my train of thought right there, but going to DC with Youth Tour was great for that, and it was so much fun, and it threw me out of my comfort zone in so many ways, and I made so many friends, and I realized that I am capable of making new friends, and that I am a likable person, and that if I am just confident in who I am, then I can achieve great things, and I can meet great people, and I can have great relationships. And that's all it took, was projecting, not even being confident in myself, but projecting the idea that I'm confident in myself, and projecting a confidence. Because once you aren't worried about, projecting confidence is more about not allowing your mind to worry about the judgment others have for you. Because if I'm pretending to be confident, then this confident version of myself won't care what other people think of me, right? So while in DC, I did a great job, in my opinion, and I'm really proud of myself for pretending to be confident, actually being confident, and making a lot of friends, and seeing great places, and then being, propagandized by, this youth tour. For starters, let me lay the groundwork of it. It's an entry-level program meant to, not entry-level, it's highly competitive, but in the grand scheme, and I use scheme as a deliberate word there, in the grand scheme of the electric cooperatives across the nation, because this is a nationwide program, they want people like me to go on this trip, love it, and then they want me to insert myself in their other programs and their internships and then public policy. And it's all about building future leaders, and they are selecting future leaders, giving them connections with people in the NRECA and electricity, like energy programs, giving them connections, creating this network of people so they can increase the size of their pool of future leaders, of future employees. So they want me they encourage everybody, hey, you should do a summer internship at your state capital or in D.C. You don't have to do public policy. You can do anything. They encourage people to do these sorts of things. All that to say, I'm super interested. I've been propagandized by the idea of interning in D.C. over a summer while I'm in college. Sorry, a little bit of blockage. I'm super interested in it, and I'm going to look into it, and I'm going to try and do it because I loved D.C. I loved the people. I mean, D.C. and the people was the main things that were going on. And I loved the environment I loved hearing and seeing firsthand that politicians and really the political public service industry, the public service industry isn't the old dudes in suits and corrupt politicians atmosphere that it's hyped up to be, or hyped down to be. Instead, it's this really cool atmosphere with a lot of young people, a lot of young interns, a lot of college interns, and a lot of cool people that I talked to that were from Oklahoma. That we had a summit with a lot of people who were Senate staffers, and it's like, these people are cool. These people are younger than I thought. These people are cooler than I thought. These people are smart, and they seem to be really enjoying what they're doing. They got something figured out, right? So there were a lot of moments over the trip like that. For example, there was two guys. One of them was at that summit, and another one was it was yesterday, came and talked to us, a dude who went on youth tour 2 years ago. He's now a sophomore in college. This is about to be a junior, I think, or about to be a sophomore. Do the math on that. I won't. He is going to be a sophomore in college. I did the math. He is interning in Senator Armstrong's office, and I might be lying on that. Senator Armstrong gave us a Capitol tour, and a lot of his employees did stuff with us. A lot of people in his office, I don't know if you call it employees, a lot of people in his office did stuff with us, but this guy, Davin, I don't remember his last name, he worked, I can't remember who for, but he worked in public relations in the USDA. So half of that is exactly what I want to do, and the other half is exactly what I want to avoid. But to hear from a dude interning in public relations, I should have gone up and talked to him. I should have picked his brain a little bit, but instead I didn't. But hearing what he does, super, super encouraging to me and interested me a ton. So that summer interning in D.C., the ambassador program that they have for kids who do youth tour. So the people who I just went on youth tour with, we all have the option, I assume it's coming up, to be a part of the ambassador program, which offers either an $1,000 or a $5,000 cash scholarship to basically post on social media about youth tour. I can do that. I can attend some meetings. I can do that. I want to apply for that. It sounds really cool. All the opportunity, every single opportunity that they told us about that is available to you after youth tour, to stay involved and to stay in this sort of atmosphere, this sort of environment, they all sounded really cool, and I want to look into all of them. It was a great trip. I mean, from start to finish, it was a wonderful trip. The first day, for literally, I guess if I don't count bus rides, our first stop, right? Our very first stop of the actual trip in D.C., I lied. Second stop, because first stop was eating. So food, obviously, but then first, sightseeing stop, we went to the National Mall. We saw the Jefferson Memorial, the Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was first, and then it was FDR, and then it was the Jefferson Memorial. And our first stop there, I was a little scared, because I wasn't y'all don't care about everything, but it was a little scary because I didn't have friends. And the only guy who I came there with, the guy who came from my cooperative, Kyle, I was friends with him and I talked to him, but he was a part. We were split off into small groups, and his small group was way better than mine. Mine sucked. I hate to say it, because I ended up liking the guys by the end of the week. Beginning of the week, they were lame, they were quiet, they were boring. And the other group, there was 2 groups of guys, the other group was already calling themselves, the Marty Party, and they were doing these things, and they were yelling about things, and having a lot of fun. They were outgoing guys who were having a lot of fun, and I was like, wow, I wish I was a part of that. And Kyle, who I knew, was in that group. Long story short, I inserted myself in that group, and I became a part of that group, and I was proud of myself for taking the initiative to do that, and for being confident enough to believe that I could do it, because they were the cool kids. In appearances, they were the cool guys of the trip, so to be able to insert myself in that and to establish that I am one of them was great, and I was really proud of myself for that. But the details of it, for one, I honestly don't feel like retelling it because I've already told it once. I want to talk more about the, other things. I want to talk about other things. But I loved that trip. D.C. was great for me. I want to go back. My sister's about to move there with Bradley. He's my brother-in-law. He's lived in D.C. for probably 3 years now, because he's in the Navy, and he works in Bethesda. Probably giving too many details. I want to post this publicly. So I can never post this video publicly, or else I'll get doxxed. But Bradley works in the Navy, and my sister recently got married and is about to move out there once she finishes college, so in 6 months. But she's going to move out there soon. And so then I hope I can go back to visit them and to see all the sites I missed and to re-see the sites I loved. I want to go back. I want to go back to D.C. That's the first thing I thought of as we, were leaving. The biggest thing on my mind was, I got to come back. I got to go back. Don't mind me for a second. I got to take a drink of water, and that's been my prop stand, so. I'm glad to be back. I loved every moment of that trip, and it was really fun, and I loved getting to meet all those guys and befriending them and being social and all that, but it's also nice to be back home. I think the trip was the perfect length of time. If I didn't wish for a couple more days, I could have gone for a couple more days, but a week-long trip somewhere in there is a good amount of time, because it's enough time to create some great friendships, to see all the sights, but it's just short enough that you want more. It leaves you wanting more in a good way, right? So if we stayed for 2 weeks, we would have run out of things to do, run out of things to say, and then it's like, oh, so it was all, I was riding this high, and now it's crashing. Versus, I think my mind tends to think a lot in picture images. I visualize things. So in this, I'm thinking of a graph, and every day you spend, where the x-axis is days spent, and the y-axis, I guess I'm drawing it backwards, the y-axis is, I don't know if my camera's inverted or not. The y-axis is your enjoyment level across however many days, right? So I'm going to start in this quarter, I think I'm going to go this way. So we're there for 1 day, and it's not that fun. It's kind of icebreakers. It's awkward, but then it gets more and more and more and more fun. But then you get to a certain point, and the excitement of it can wear off. So then you start to plateau a little bit. So as you're plateauing, that's where you want to cut it off and end it, because otherwise you plateau a little bit. You might dip, and then if you end there, you're ending on a low note. It's all about, it's like my dad would always tell me, if you're out shooting a basketball, if you're playing catch, if you're taking cuts in the cages hitting, you always want to end on your best rep. You always want to end on a good note. Remember it well is basically what that lesson was. Is whatever you do, You want it to stick in your mind in a good way. The last thing you do with anyone, the last thing that happens, it should be good, because otherwise there's room for regret. Otherwise there's room for your flawed memory to assume that's how the whole thing was, right? So you want to cut it off in a good spot, and I think we did that. I'm about to say, I think you get my point. I'm sort of rambling a lot, and I guess this is, my space to talk, so I can do that. But I'm sort of just like talking and not really saying much. I haven't said much. But I think that's a side effect of me being excited. I start to just talk. And I love this feeling. And I want to savor this feeling of when I get home from a trip and I get to tell. My mom is amazing in this one way. She's amazing in all the ways, but in this one way, one example of her being amazing is anytime I get back from a trip, she loves to hear of her children's excitement. So when I get home from a trip, she wants to hear all about it. And she gives me this space to just talk, to just go crazy. And it means a lot to her, because as a kid, that's how I was all the time. And it got to the point of being annoying. I was a very talkative kid, and I would just ramble and ramble and ramble. And my mom probably, I'm filling in some blanks here, but probably got pretty annoyed, probably got sick of it, until at some point in my life, it was right around COVID. COVID sort of messed with my social skills in a lot of ways, and that's a topic for another day, because that goes crazy. That goes into the sociology of what COVID did to all of us. But sometime around then, I stopped being such a talkative kid, and I started being a pretty quiet kid. And with that, when I started getting quiet, I started losing social skills, and I started becoming pretty awkward. So now when my mom gets to see, I have sort of balanced back out, and now I think I'm just a pretty healthy talker. I like to think I am, when given a comfortable space. Without a comfortable space, I actually am. I do still revert back to being too quiet. But my mom loves to see those glimpses of me where after a fun week, where I haven't seen her for a while, I'll just run in, break down the door and just start talking, and just talk about every single detail, about every single moment, about every person I met, about every sight I saw. And I think she really enjoys, or at least puts on the performance of enjoying hearing me talk about those things. So I love my mom for that. She's great. She's the best. Whenever I make it big, whenever I'm doing great things, because I will. Whenever I'm huge, I'm going to owe it all to my mom. And I don't want to be huge. But I will say, there's another thing. While I was in D.C., I felt patriotism. Like I said, from back when I was younger, I think this D.C. trip revived a lot of my child's eye, and a lot of the things about me that were very, the true self, that, some philosophies say that you're born your true self, and then the world strips that from you with fear of judgment and with social expectations. I don't buy fully into that, but I do think there's some there's something to take away from that. There's some wisdom in that. And I think DC trip definitely, I can see the reignition of a lot of my more childish and maybe more true traits. Things like my talkative nature and my unwavering patriotism in the USA. I used to be the most patriotic little kid. It's part of my upbringing, because my grandfather and my uncles and even my parents, very patriotic people, and a very patriotic place where I was raised. Like I live in a patriotic place, not near as patriotic as DC, especially the nation's capital and all the tourist spots. That is the center of America. So to see all that definitely reminded me that I love America and that I appreciate America and that all those guys were badasses. But also, not just the patriotism, but also, while I was in D.C., man, I gotta stop talking so much. I forget what I was gonna say. Patriotism, and me being talkative. Was it me, like, talking a lot while I was in D.C.? I think that's what I was gonna say. My social skills were great while I was there. I could chum it up with anybody, and I could just wave somebody down and say, hey, how you doing? Except the women. There was a few girls I talked to. I can't say it. I feel like a hateful person explaining why I could talk to them, but I think you can infer it. They were great people. They were super funny, and they were, some of them kind, some of them mean people, but funny, so it's okay. I love the mean, funny combination. There was a few people like that. Such a fun combination. And I was willing to just talk to a lot of people, a handful of girls, and every single dude on the trip I could just go talk to. And that felt good. That felt really good. I wish one of the only things about the trip that I think could have been better, except for there was a couple sites, that I didn't love, but to each their own, so you have to appease 80 different people, so, it's going to happen. It's going to be part of it. Aside from that, one of the only complaints I had was that we didn't spend a lot of time as a Oklahoma group, like, getting to know each other. You sort of just got to know the people you were around. Like, if you're riding this bus with these people, you'll talk to them, and if you're in this small group, and if you go out of your way to be friends with people, yeah, you'll talk to them. But, like, the people who, on that trip, I bet I would have been best friends with, but were just on opposite ends of everything, I didn't get to meet them, and I didn't get to spend time with them. So I wish there was a little more structure in some things like that, but also the flip side of that is the world doesn't do that for you. So why should they, right? Because when I get a job, whenever I go to college, whenever I'm doing all these things, it's not like church camp where they say, all right, join this small group, and we're going to force you to do icebreakers, and we're going to quell all the awkwardness. Instead, we were treated more like adults here, which I thought was really cool. So I think my complaint is a side effect of being treated more like an adult. So there's two sides to that. There's advantages and disadvantages. There's things to think about as far as that goes. And I hope that the youth directors and the people who are a part of putting on this program understand that. I've got to study for my ACT. I'm taking one in July, and my math score isn't going to go up if I don't study. I've got to study for the math. I haven't done any math. Since the first time I took the ACT, I haven't done any math that I didn't already understand. I haven't learned any new concepts, which is really bad. That's, my mind has not been active as far as math goes. I need to get on like a actual structured program for tutoring and for studying for the ACT. Got to get on that. I've got to get on that. That should be on my to-do list for today, is start working on that. While I was in D.C., I didn't run, and I'm dressed in my runner's outfit right now solely to remind myself that I still haven't ran today. I still need to get it done. I don't want to. I really don't want to. But I'm going to. I drove here. I might drive somewhere else and just go run somewhere random, see some new sites, because I know if I just go to my usual spots, if I just run from home, or I go to the spot where we all meet, I'll be discouraged from running, because, it's just like, oh, I'm back to my normal, boring life. So I do need to run somewhere else. Speaking of normal, boring life, I can't let that happen. I can't let DC be worthless by just falling back into the rhythm of my normal life. I want to be a leader. I want to make the world a better place. I want to have fun with my friends in Oklahoma. I want to have fun with my friends in Chandler for one more year, one more full year from pretty much now. I've got a year to spend time with people. I've got a year to spend time with people and I want to be a leader. I want to work on leadership skills. I want to grow. I want to grow as a person to prepare myself for being successful in life. And so I can't I want DC to be a starting point. I don't want it to be one lesson back into normal life. I want it to be a starting point to a changed life. And I understand that change is not linear, and growth is not linear, progress is not linear. Never is. There is ups and downs. And really, in my life, I've already been working on myself. I've already been trying to grow, and so DC is just a part of that. But more on the ambition, I want to be more ambitious in chasing these things, and I want to focus more on growing as a leader and as a confident, kind person. That pretty much summarizes all the growing I want to do in this chapter of my life. So I got a year to do that. And I need to find all of the programs, all the opportunities, all the scholarships, everything that will open doors to opportunities where I can grow. I gotta grow. And I did grow in DC, and I'm proud of myself. And I want to savor that for a second. I want to appreciate that DC was great for me. But I also want to appreciate, I want to grasp that while in DC, I wasn't perfect. And I passed up on opportunities that could have helped me. And I passed up on women who were very beautiful. And very beautiful. I feel like that's like a loving, and like I gotta love her to say that. Passed up on some very attractive women. And not passed up to say like they made advances on me, and I said, nah, I'm too cool for you. As in to say, I didn't approach them, and I need to work on that. I need to be able to do that. So there's growing to be done. There's growing that's been had. And the only way to bridge that gap between those two is to, in this present moment, work on myself. And baseball is going to be a great opportunity to grow as a leader, because I'm going to be forced to be a leader, and we're going to suck as a team. But as long as I work on myself and I work on the other guys on the team, I can grow hugely as a leader. I think this is going to be a great first opportunity. So I need to do that. I need to research all the youth programs that they have, all the summer internships, all the things, all the opportunities that NRA, ECA, and OAEC are going to offer me. I got to look into all that. But I also got to make the most of this summer. June's been great so far. I'm going back to baseball and summer pride and all those things, and running. But running I'm going back to today. I'm going back to all that on Monday. So I need to be able to look through it through a new lens. Don't dread all the workouts. Revel in the opportunity. And be grateful for my body. I didn't even talk about Mike. I don't know how to say his last name. It was sort of a weird name. Like Mike Chappelli or something like that. He was a speaker at the NRECA Youth Night that we had 2 nights ago. And he was, amazing. I ordered his book last night because I didn't get it while I was there, and I got it at 75% off, buying it off Amazon, so I was smart for that. But I missed the opportunity. What was more important was I missed the opportunity to talk to him one-on-one, and that's what I gotta do. That's my biggest thing right now, is I pass up so many opportunities to talk to people. I gotta talk to people. Don't be scared to talk to people. They're just a regular person like me, So it's like don't be intimidated by people. I gotta get my confidence. That's being more confident. That's what a lot of that is. So he was one of, if not the best speech I've ever heard in my life. It was his life story and the wisdom that he had. And I wish I would have taken notes. And I want to read his book because I didn't take notes. I want to hear that story again, and I want to be able to have it physically. So that was great. I'm right at the 30-minute mark. I've got a lot of other things to say, but I said a lot of things. That was a lot of talking. I don't know if I need to expect myself to go 30 minutes every time. I feel like that's a high bar to set. Devoting 30 minutes of time to sit here talking. I didn't talk about nature at all today, so I'll give it a brief 30 seconds of talking about it. Sitting here in my favorite place in the world, that might have to change now that I went to D.C. because D.C. was amazing. D.C. was great, but I'm sure they have it, but I didn't experience like nature like this while I was in D.C. The trip wasn't about experiencing nature, even though one of the biggest cool things about D.C. was that there were trees everywhere in the city, and I loved that. I absolutely loved that. But anywho, here in this place, like I love this spot because it's secluded, but it's also like the lake campsite is right next to me. Like you guys don't get a grasp of it because I'm shooting, my background is just trees, so it looks like I'm just out in the middle of nowhere. I'm not, but it feels like it. And even my view is off in the middle of nowhere, so it does feel like I'm very secluded, but it also feels like I'm still in society. It's my perfect place. I love it. It's perfect. This place, I just had this thought, it is a lot like whenever your nose is clear. I should appreciate this more. Right now, I can breathe good, although my voice it sounds like I'm probably not breathing good because I've been sick. I was sick the first few days of DC and before that, but I'm getting over it right now. Probably sounds like I'm a little sick, but right now my nose is clear, and I don't appreciate that enough, because when your nose is stopped up, you wonder, why didn't I appreciate those days of my nose being clear? That's what this place is like. I love this place, and I want to appreciate it, because I'm not always going to have it. I take Oklahoma for granted, I take Chandler for granted, and I take this place for granted. But I love it. I love my life. I love who I'm becoming, and I love where I am. Thank you for listening. I'm going to try and talk again tomorrow. I don't want this to be a sporadic thing. I want this to be pretty often. I'm probably going to shorten them up, though. I had a lot to talk about because it's been a while. I'm going to try and talk for 15 to 30 minutes. That'll be my goal. Like 20 to 30 actually is probably good. 20 to 30 minutes of talking. I went a little over this time, so thank you for listening. Thank you, me right now. This is future me. I'm messing up the timeline here, but right now I'm thanking me, this current me, because I know future me is going to appreciate watching this. Now I'm doing that thing where I think about me thinking about me thinking about me thinking about me thinking, like the mirrors, the row of mirrors. And now I'm thinking about the row of mirrors in the future me 20 years from now is watching it. Wow. All right, I'm getting so sidetracked. Anywho, I'm so glad that I'm doing this because I know this is going to be good for me. Yeah. Well, I gotta probably go run now. So, wish me luck and bye-bye.